Imagine you're standing in front of an older house. It's seen some years, survived the trials of time, and has housed countless memories. And now it needs a renovation to carry it forward for the next chapter. What if this house is a metaphor for your life? As women, when we reach the midpoint of our lives, many of us find ourselves in a similar position. We've had wonderful experiences, learned valuable lessons, and yet there's a desire for something fresh, something new. And just like that house, we are ready for a midlife makeover. Hi, I'm Angela Retti, and I am a sister renovator on this journey that we call life. And you're here because you've reached that stage that many of us refer to as midlife. And like me, you're wondering, what's next? Learning or adapting to a new skill seems hard and daunting in the beginning, but don't worry, once you know how, this is simple and you can do it. Now is the time for the beginning of a beautiful new chapter, and together we're going to design a blueprint for your midlife makeover. So let's dive into the first of our midlife makeover blueprint series. And just like a home renovation, a midlife makeover requires careful planning, a little bit of creativity, and a whole lot of courage. Today, we'll be discussing the importance of creating the blueprint for your future and how you can start to envision your life as a beautiful, renewed living space. As I said before, embarking on a house renovation requires vision and planning. You wouldn't start knocking down walls and painting without a plan. You have a vision, a design of what you want your home to look like, and the same applies to your midlife makeover. Before we start the work, we need to create that blueprint for your future of how you want it to look. And envisioning your future is an essential first step on the path to your midlife makeover. By understanding what it is that you want your future to look like, you're setting a compass, a North Star, a direction for the change that lies ahead. And why is this so critical? Well, there's a quote from Lewis Carroll, and I won't read it all because I'm not great at doing all of the voices. So you can read that in the blog, but I will paraphrase what Lewis Carroll was saying in Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. And what it was is, if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. So in other words, without a clear vision for our future, we risk wandering aimlessly, never quite finding what we seek. And if you don't end up finding what you seek, then you'll likely become frustrated and end up with regrets for the things that you really wanted to do and didn't end up doing in your life. So back when I started to work on myself and my blueprints and my plans for my midlife makeover, I felt stuck and frustrated. I was going around and around and around in circles, trying to figure out, what I really wanted. And what kept me going was not wanting to have those regrets for the things that I hadn't done in life. So if you're feeling like I was, then this next exercise is for you. It will help you to start to get clarity to move you forward by simply taking stock of what you already know. And if you feel like you're already clear on what your vision is for your future, do this exercise anyway. It will help to clarify and update your vision with more specifics and details. So what we're going to do is identify your values and priorities. And just like in a house renovation or a remodeling, you have to identify what it is that you really want. And for that, it's about finding out what's important to you. So, for example, if you value being social, then entertaining might be really important to you. And if you are renovating your house, then you might prioritize resources around your kitchen, your dining room, or other entertaining areas. And another example might be that you like being in nature and gardening are important to you. And so what you might do in your home renovation is make sure that you put in extra large windows or create spaces where the inside and the outside blend together, bringing the nature into your home. So as you can see, everyone is going to want different things and will interpret what that means to them in their own way. No one knows you like you do. And this exercise is about determining what's most important to you. What are your core values? What are the things that matter most in your life? Okay, so let's get down to work. If you haven't already got out a journal or a notebook, now would be a great time to do that. And maybe you want to use a big sheet of paper. Some people like to create it as lists, while others like to put the idea in the center and create like a mind map around it. Do what works best for you. So step one, we're going to brainstorm and write down all the things that you care deeply about. And I'm just going to give you a few prompts. There are, of course, many, many others. And these are just to give you a flavor of where to start looking. So the prompts might be: family is important, friends are important, relationships, and that could be your love relationship, or it could be your family relationships, or it could be your social relationships. Career could be an important area for you. Health could be an important area for you. Being in nature, learning, your spirituality, volunteering, philanthropy, maybe wealth, personal development, learning, growing, all of those kinds of things. So those are just some ideas for you to get started. Okay, so you may have stopped this video. You can do this and come back for the next step, but I'm going to keep on going. So step 2, you're going to find your priorities by ranking your values in order of importance to you. And the most important words in this step are what's important to you. This isn't about anyone else. Remember, this is your midlife makeover, and it's a time in your life for you to prioritize you. So put yourself in the middle of this exercise and put yourself first. And I know as a woman, this can be tricky, and we may have been conditioned, and some say we are hardwired to nurture others, and often at the expense of ourselves. So this is a time to take a deep breath and do this for yourself right now. And remember, no one else has to see this if you don't want them to. It's time to put yourself first and be honest with yourself about what's really important to you. Not what you think should be important, what is really important to you. And once you've done this, you should have either a list or a mind map or whatever other way that you have found to do this that will show you visually what is most important to you. Now, you might do this by giving stars on it or putting numbers on it. And this is where the term value comes in. It's what we value most. And these are some of your values. And you know which are most important to you and which are less important to you. So take a step back, take a deep breath, and celebrate yourself. This exercise will really help you to put things into perspective. You've done a great job so far. So step 3, now we know what we value and we know what our priorities are. It's time to start sketching an outline of what it is that you want. So you've listed above and ranked out your main values, and it's time to dig a little deeper to figure out what it is that you want each of these to look like in the future. So, you know, much like when I was talking about the idea that if being social was important to you, then entertaining might be important to you. And so let's say that your 3 priorities in your house are your kitchen, your dining room, and your outdoor entertaining area. So those would be the equivalent of your values, your highest ranked values. And maybe kitchen, because you just love to cook, that is your most important thing. And if you think about it this way, if in the end you could only do one thing, what would that one thing be? And that would give you priority number 1. And then if you could only do 2 things, what would be the second thing that you could do? And that will give you priority number 2. So you kind of get the picture. So now what we're going to do is we know that we're going to focus on the kitchen, we're going to focus on the dining room, we're going to focus on the outdoor entertaining area. But let's just take the kitchen for a moment. Let's just look at the kitchen. Let's just go, what from a high level do we really want in that kitchen? And that's what we're doing here. We're just taking the idea of what we want that kitchen to look like. Now, is that how it's going to look like exactly? Like, do we know exactly every detail? Do we know exactly which oven we're going to put in and what other gadgets and colors and things like that? Maybe not. Maybe you do know, maybe you don't. And that's okay, because this is just the starting point. We're just getting an overall view. And that's what we're doing with these values. So now you know what your values are. It's time to just go into and give a little bit of extra detail. So if you've got space on your mind map or on the list, you can start to fill in some of those high level details of how you want each of your values to look. And if you don't have space, that's not a problem. In fact, it's probably a good thing. Get a fresh sheet of paper and write down your first highest priority value at the top, if you like lists, or in the middle of the page if you're a mind mapper. And now you're going to get creative by writing down or drawing out whatever it is that you want this value to be like. And this is where you get to start to discover what you really want and be as detailed as you want, because this is your dream house or your dream life after all. Okay, so once you're happy with what you've designed and sketched out, it's time to take it all in. Now step back, either look at your mind map or have a read of your list and just take it all in. And I'd like you to just write down a paragraph or 2 of how that makes you feel. Now you have put that down on paper. And then the step after this is not really step 4, it's just repeating step 3, and that is to do the same thing for each of your values in order. Now, initially, I would suggest you work with your top 3, because you may find that you feel very overwhelmed at the thought of going through all of your values. And remember, you can always come back and work on these later. So I have given you some examples around the house. So let me give you an example that is very specific to a value. So if I give you the example around health, so if health is the value, my general theme, so this is roughly how I want my health to look like, is I want a healthier lifestyle that focuses on the pillars of good health and well-being so that I can chase my grandchildren and say yes to everything. Okay, so I know that's quite a crafted statement because it's something that I've worked on and thought about over a long period of time. But yours may look like that or sound like that or be like that, or it may be totally different, and that's entirely up to you. So that's just the general theme of how I want it to look. I'm not saying what I actually have to do in there or how I'm going to do that. I'm just giving an overall North Star of what I want. And I've also said a few little juicy things to keep me wanting to get to it. So I love the idea of being able to say yes to everything, because I've been through a period in my life where I've been saying no because my health, I felt from my health point of view that I couldn't do things. So that's very important to me. So the next step down, if you have time and maybe you want to do this, is to look at a little bit more of the specific and measurable outcomes. I mean, outcomes, goals, whatever you want to call it, desires, whatever term that you prefer. So for me, I'm just playing around with a few things. Let's say that my first one is to fit into size 10 dresses. And how that's going to make me feel is I feel fit, toned, and sexy. I notice that people turn their heads to look at me again. And that makes me feel youthful and full of hope and joy. So how good would that feel? Amazing. So another version would be to research and adopt a healthy diet suitable for a woman of my age. And this makes me feel energetic and empowered. And I feel in control and smart because I figured this out for myself. So another one is to run a half marathon. And this makes me feel so proud because I have never been a runner, and completing this is an accomplishment that fills up my cup. And here is one that's, again, a little bit different to give you a different kind of flavor, because not everybody wants to do those kinds of things. So meditate daily. I feel centered, grounded, and calm and in control of my life. And I feel like I show up as a better human being, which makes me feel happy and proud. So those are just a few examples in case you needed them. So during this process, you may find that you want to switch around your priorities, and that is totally fine. This is not the end. This is just the beginning. And the goal is not perfection. The aim here is just to get started and to get something down on paper. These are the rough sketches of your midlife makeover blueprint. And like any home renovation, your life makeover doesn't have to, and most likely won't, happen overnight. It's a process, and sometimes it can be messy and challenging, and that's all part of the journey. You've already made steps towards reimagining your life to reflect who you are today and who you want to become. So Oprah Winfrey says that the biggest adventure you can ever take is to live the life of your dreams. And quite often that's the only part of that quote that people hear. But this is actually the more important part, and this is: be prepared. When you finally summon the courage to cast a vote for yourself, you can expect obstacles. The whole world will rise up to tell you who you cannot become and what you cannot do. A very, very wise woman is Oprah Winfrey. So we've got work to do. There are extra skills and stamina to acquire to create what you have just written about and make that into your future. And just like a house remodeling, there are tools that can make life easier, speed up the process, and make it even better. So, are you up for your midlife makeover? If you're feeling a sense of excitement or even a little bit of nervousness right now, that is perfectly normal. This is your journey, and it's meant to be unique, just like you. So it's not about becoming a different person. It's about enhancing the fantastic foundation that already exists. So much like a renovation enhances a house's existing structure. You are already whole and capable. And this is about bringing out your best, rediscovering your passions, and aligning your life with your values. So as we move forward, I'll be here to guide you through each of the stages of your midlife makeover, from planning to demolition. Oh, that sounds a little bit rough, doesn't it? So what can I say? Clearing away the old to make way for the new, and on, of course, to the final reveal. So for now, what I'd like to do is invite you to join my free 7-day Envision and Experience Your Future class. Now, the title pretty much explains what it's all about and why you might want to get onto that right now, so that you can use these skills as you go through the rest of the Midlife Makeover series. You'll find more about the free class below the video. There'll be a link to more information. Okay, we've been on a bit of a journey already. So taking the time to envision your future and create your blueprint is a powerful first step in your midlife makeover. So grab your metaphoric hammer and nails and let's start building that life that you've envisioned. So join me next time as we continue to explore the Midlife Makeover series. And we're going to be delving into planning your midlife makeover, which is kind of like the equivalent of a project plan for your house construction. So until then, live, love, and thrive. I'm Angela Retti.